Hey guys, so Barrister and Mann Spice. It's Barrister's Rsrv is the product line. My Nacet blade is what I'm going to be using today, and it looks like if I navigate to the inside flap, I've got 213 shaves. So today's 214, and it's a shave with an old blade. And it's not a great scenario because it is with 2 days of growth. So there'll be some tugging. And open comb, timeless. And this is the 68 gap stainless steel razor. And today we're going to be bringing in another Omega. I've already used it a couple times. And as you can see, the tips, see those split tips right there? This is the banded one. The other Omegas I have are unbleached, unbanded, and so they're that kind of straw color the whole way through, and they are very reluctant to break in. 20 shaves on the one Omega I have, the 10098, and it is with many hours of soaking, sometimes overnight, before each shave. And so in some senses, if you were just to use it, that brush may have really more like 60 uses or even 80 uses in it because of the soaking and stuff. And it's still not all that soft, and it's still got a good bit of, it still has less tip splitting than this one does with much less uses on it. All right, so I'm going to put another use on this one to try to bring it up to the other boars that I have in my Boarathon cycle. They're all up to about 20 or 21 right now, and over the next couple of weeks I want to put some more uses on this brush and the little 1438 that I have from Simog. So let's get my face wet. I have oily skin, and maybe that's what helps me to get so many shaves out of a blade. I don't know. But this location has soft water. My home location doesn't. I tried several ways of lathering the Barrister's Rsrv, and I never really got a nice creamy lather. I got something that was kind of a watery slickness. It did have the slickness needed to get a good lather on the face, a good feel, a good slick shave, but never something creamy in the fingers. And so my one of the last efforts I was going to try to do for it was to try it with some distilled water. Well, this water may be soft enough to be equivalent or close enough. Another thing I wanted to try is a wet brush method, where I come in with a lot wetter brush than I usually have. So I figure I'd combine both of those and just see what happens, okay? So that is today. This brush has been soaking for about half an hour, a little over half an hour, and so that should definitely have it be nice and wet. Oh, habitually I was shaking out the water. Let's just bring it out. And these boars don't really hold very much water when they're this young in terms of uses. And so I'm not going to shake any. I'm just going to lift it out. And why don't we just put it right over the soap. Let's have a nice wet load. And let's try a 30-second wet load. We just turned 0. So why don't we try a 30-second wet load. Just medium pressure. I'm not pressing down huge. 30 seconds. You know, just for grins, let's go 40 seconds. If we end up with too much lather, so be it. That's 20 seconds now. It's got a nice wet, very wet, bubbly mix right there on the soap. You know what? Why don't we try kind of a Marco method with it? Let's watch the wet, bubbly mess and see if we can watch it thicken up some and just see what happens there. My usual method with my home water. Didn't really yield me the results I wanted, so let's try something else. And shoot, this is almost a minute of loading. That's exactly a minute. Let's just stop. I bet this is not going to get any different. I mean, as you can see, it's just coming over the sides all over the place. So I'm going to have to rinse that. If I wasted any soap, and I may have, it's just one shave's worth of soap probably, so it's not really a big deal. But if it gets me to where I want to go, I'm cool with that. All right, now we've got our Roger Quintero shave bowl. He designed it and printed it for me. And you can get those plans, those files, if you have a 3D printer or access to one. The files are linked in the description of my shave. Well, Spice is a very fragrant soap, and so you will get that scent coming up to meet your nose, as I always do. I'm going to add a teaspoon of water, start to work it in. Another teaspoon. Now it's a very rich looking lather right now. But I'm pretty sure it needs some more water, so let's keep going a little bit more. Now, I believe the maker of Barrister and Mann, said that with the Rsrv you have to add a certain amount of water just to get the lathering action of the soap to activate. And maybe I'm paraphrasing. So there is something about making sure you add enough water to it. This looks like a really slick, wet lather. But I'm curious if this is unactivated or not. And maybe that's why some people have a problem getting Rsrv to work for them. Maybe they are mixing it up and it looks maybe a little too thin, so they're afraid to keep adding water. But that's exactly what they need to do. Now, I don't know, I need to send Will a message and maybe get some clarification on that. I bet he'll answer after a while. I'll be patient because, you know, he's an artisan, but I think he has a day job too, so got to give the guys a break who try to do this as a side job. Okay, we'll bring it down here. Look, that is an elastic lather right there. Now let's feel it. Nah, it's not miraculously different from my water at home. And we have 3 teaspoons of water in it. So And I loaded for a minute, remember, so that should be fine. Just for grins, I'm going to load for a little bit longer. And then let's bring this to the kind of wet lather that we have right here. Still kind of got a watery slickness. It'll do the job and it feels great on my face. But if it's going to be in my favorite list of bases, which it has been for a while, because I remember I got a silky smooth feel on my face. Now, was it because a couple years ago when I used it, I was trying distilled water? Was it because I didn't really have a good basis of comparison? Was it because it did actually feel that way on my face? And it does. And I just wasn't used to testing the lathers with my fingers. Who knows? So let's see. Yeah, we've thickened it up a little bit. Let's just use it, enjoy it. Go head on forward. Water on my face. All right. I think the number of this brush starts with an 8. I think it ends in a 6.6, and it's got 2 numbers in between those, and I don't have it memorized, but when this video is published, I will have that information in the title of the video as well as in the description, so you can get it off there. Now, the oils in my face are not washed off for this first pass, and so a lot of times that is detrimental to a good lather. So let's not evaluate the lather yet. Okay, now let me show you the Nacet blade. And it's right side up, so the X, or the top portion of the X, is right there. That is the mark that I've put on the blade from the beginning to kind of help people with authenticity issues. Although I'm sure I could fake it somehow. Now, I learned with the case of today where I am shaving a 2-day growth is just to suck it up and take your knocks in the first pass. Let it be tuggy, and I'm not going to do my usual practice of buffing with this older blade. It's better just to kind of go over each area merely one time. And the second time will be much nicer. And that feel I got right there is probably what I was thinking about, because it may not feel very slick on the fingers. And that may take it actually out of my kind of top bases list, but it's a good base. It felt terrific on my face. It felt amazing as I was rinsing it away. And it performs really well. It is silky smooth on the face. It's just It's a low structure soap, and it's not going to get puffy and foamy and thick Santa Claus beard style, you know. It's going to stay low because it has castor oil and some things like that in it that kind of keep it heavy. And that's just the attribute of the soap. It's not good or bad. It's good if you're looking for nice post-shave properties and moisturization of your face. Now I can do more of a normal buffing pass, and a lot of those hairs have been trimmed down. The kind of the 2-day bite has kind of been removed. Still kind of staying with a cross grain or close to it angle for a little bit more irritation protection. And there we go. And now another rinse. So now we're putting on the third pass. And with this shave, it looks like I've learned that an excessive load with a wet brush and even soft water is not, which I believe might just be as good of a situation as you're going to get if we know that it doesn't produce quite the results we want with kind of a dry or a damp load method like I usually use. Then I think we've kind of tried the gamut of, and I've tried slow loading, where water is added a lot more slowly. Tried fast watering. I said slow loading, I meant slow watering. I'll probably have about 3 more passes of lather in the bowl here. All right, cross grain again on my cheeks. If you have an open comb and you shave a line and you get the rows left on after your razor head has passed through, and you get rows that correspond with the open comb teeth on your safety bar, then you might have the handle too close to your face, which makes the blade angle a little too open. And if you're not getting the closeness you want, and you see those rows, then one of the solutions is to bring, that handle's probably too close to your face. I don't know what I said before, but it means it's probably too close, which means the top cap is not likely touching your skin. And so the lather's getting past the blade. The blade's not actually getting close enough to your skin either, or the blade would collect up the soap itself. And so raise up your handle. Instead of this way, raise up. You may only need to change it that much, just a small degree, and that might get that razor down where it should be, where those lines disappear behind the razor. They're not there anymore. And there you go. That might be a great way to help you with your closeness. And that's called riding the safety bar. If you have the opposite problem where your handle is too open, then your blade may not be picking up the lather, and it may be leaving it behind in whatever pattern your top cap is. In this case, it would actually do it in the shape of a line because we have grooves. So that might be tough to figure out which one it is. But if you have a solid, smooth top cap, then it'll leave behind soap in kind of a smooth swath. And then you probably know that your handle is too open. You need to bring it just a touch closer to your face, something like that. All right, how do we feel? That's the third pass down. Let me rinse. All right. Well, I was dreading that shave because of that first pass, but over quickly, and it doesn't leave any residual irritation on my skin. It may tug some on that first pass, but it's over very quickly, and I don't feel it anymore after that. So that's why I'm downstairs here, and I didn't bother going up to get a different razor with a fresher blade. I just went ahead with it, and I'm fine with that. So let us put a little more lather on my neck, and do a more focused pass this time. I don't really need to shave over here again, but I mean, why not? Okay, now starting with the trouble area here. I'm going to turn my chin away so that I can pull back right here and come at the cross grain, and maybe even tilt to where I almost have a little bit of against the grain to it as well. Very light pressure, very light. And then realize that I need to do this other part from the other direction. Feels good. Make sure I rub it with the grain so I don't stir up any irritation just because of kind of skin abrasion, you know. And now I'll rinse. Well, I do have quite a few hairs with some length on them down here. However, I have great amounts of comfort. And so for now, I'm cool with that. 3 passes on the whole face, extra half pass down here, and it's close enough. So we'll just roll with it. Interesting. Let us combine the spice scent of the soap with Declaration Grooming Puzzle 2019. I chose to be in that contest, and I am hopefully not going to get any scent overlap to where I can't figure out what the scent is. But I am trying, it might, with a little bit of overlap, it might bring out some certain notes in the puzzle that I didn't really smell before, because the spices already kind of set my nose up a certain way. But I'm definitely also going to evaluate it in a more neutral environment where I don't have a strong soap on me already. But I figure let's evaluate it in some different scenarios in addition to kind of a control environment, a blank tabula rasa environment. 3 teaspoons of soap were used. I wet loaded it with wet water, lots of water in the brush. It's a small Boar brush, and so you will get different results if you wet load it with a Badger that's full of water. It holds about 3 times as much water as often they do as this brush. I have, probably 2 more passes. I bet I could get 3 if I really wanted to. It's very elastic. And I did go back and work on the puck a little bit more. It's not creamy very much to the fingers. It still has kind of the micro bubbles. And I'm not talking about those big ones that you can see, about 8 or 9 of them there. I'm talking about they're even smaller. And, they are on there, but it feels terrific on the skin. And when you are rinsing, the slickness just jumps out. And it's a luxurious rinse. I think it still deserves to be high in the bases in terms of performance. It just, there are others that give me that creamy feel on the face, but also on the fingers as well. And those are going to be my top bases because that's my personal priority. So my top may not be the same as your top because we both base them on different criteria. But there we go. Look at that nice elasticity, not really able to hold its own weight when it's out in that type of thinness. Something, just a trait to look for as you, if you have this base, as you figure out where you like to have your water ratio to be. All right, we're going to clean up. Is this a good scent follow-up to the spice? The spice is heavy. This scent is also very substantial. And so maybe one might think it's not a great transition. However, I'm not detecting conflicts or clashes. And so if you know you enjoy shaving with this one, the spice, but you know that over the next couple hours you want to enjoy this, the puzzle, then I think it's a decent transition without the conflicts. And I don't think the spice is messing up your experience with the puzzle. All right, well, I believe that I have given Rsrv as good an opportunity as I can. And I'll just have to figure out my favorite bases all over again. Rsrv was kind of in my top spot. I may start with Barrister and Mann just so I could put the different Barrister and Mann bases kind of in order. I probably like Glissant better than Rsrv at this point. Glissant's one of their older bases, and it's really good. I really like it. Whether I like Excelsior better than Rsrv, I'm going to guess that I do, but I'll have to make sure. I do have some white label. I don't have any black label, which is the older. I think white and the black existed side by side, parallel. It wasn't an age thing. It was a parallel side, different product line that he was doing. But I don't have any black label, I don't think. But the Glissant is really nice, and I should use Excelsior again soon to compare it with my recollections of Rsrv now. To see how I like that. Excelsior, again, is a lower base soap, lower structure, kind of similar to the Rsrv, but I believe most people are enjoying it as a much easier loading soap. So I have none of these shaves that I've done, maybe the past 5 shaves with this soap, any of them in recent memory. I've never gotten a lather that wasn't amazingly slick. I've never gotten a lather that didn't feel good on the face. I've never gotten a lather that wasn't slick and luxurious feeling during the rinses. I want to make that very clear. As I remove the Rsrv kind of from my favorite list, I just want to make sure that those amazing qualities are still there. We're just arguing about nuances here, you know? And so, still does terrific. It just lacks a little bit in kind of that finger feel zone, but it still performs really well. And I think, people with it who are going to be happy with it if they just learn how to load it. And it's not all that hard because in all of those different trials and all of the different attempts at coming at it really wet, coming at it really dry, slowly adding water, quickly adding water, heavy load, soft water, hard water, all those scenarios, I still got a great lather that functioned well. And so no matter what situation you're coming into it with, I guess there are people out there with harder water than me, but I can't really see a scenario where a person wouldn't be able, with just a little bit of tweak to their technique, get Rsrv to work really well for them, in performance-wise, that's for sure. That's my guess. Well, I was focused on the soap a lot during this shave, but I wanted to make sure I mentioned the brush. This one does not have the number that it is. It's an Omega. Like I said, the tips are soft. It has enough splay while I'm shaving to be comfortable, to give a nice massage feel, to be soft on the face, to be easy to splay. I didn't have a problem pulling up soap from the soap, so to me, it's a really good brush. And as the tips keep splitting, it's going to get softer and softer, and it's probably still going to have the medium backbone that it has. I think this knot is going to continue to be, and grow to be a favorite boar. And I will likely be chopping off this crappy little cheap plastic handle and putting something else on this fine knot that is more worthy of its performance so far. And this is an inexpensive knot, inexpensive brush. So I'm very happy with the value, what you get for this low price. And I could see why people are Omega fans with this kind of brush experience. The other ones that are the unbleached and all that, those are too harsh. For me at least, they seem that they're going to take way too long to break in. And I'm not interested in going down that road, at least anytime soon, especially with the Zeniths, the Banded Omegas, the Simogs all in play. To me, there's just no reason to pursue the harsh Omega. All right, guys, we're done. Good scents all around. The Spice, it's a terrific Old Spice clone, it's a kind of a reproduction as to the recipe or the scent as best as Will could get it from the old Shulton Old Spice scent, not the new one that's currently out there. And I really enjoy it. I think it's a classic, and it's been popular for so long for good reason. I'm really enjoying the scent of the puzzle as well moving forward now. And it was a good shave. Tug was quite a bit on that first pass, but that's long gone. Face still, no irritation. I don't feel any kind. Even the alcohol splash gave me no dings or stings or ouch or anything like that. And I have a nice close shave. And yes, I do have some length, a little bit extra length than usual on some of these trouble spot hairs, but we'll just let that slide this time. All right. Well, there we go. I hope there was something here in this shave. I sure did learn something about Rsrv this time, and hope there was something beneficial for you as well. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You take care, and good night.